704 beats by Alex J.
Yeah. First and 10. We in the trenches. You like the water cooler. You be on the benches. Think your team better, but they lack skill. First snap, I leave your backs in the backfield. Your quarterback scared, I see it in his eyes. Sent the receiver in motion, that's just a disguise. My linebackers, they stepping up. Clog a hole, no letting up. Taking on no big blocks. On fourth down, we get big stops. My secondary is balling out. Your offense keeps stalling out. How many yards? Like none at all. Cause special teams don't punt the ball and it's gone. And you never see me fair catch. I get a block and then I'm gone like a Learjet. My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. Win, we just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win. We just came to win. Win. We must protect this house. I'm in a huddle talking to the hogs. We gonna run it down their throat soon as we get the ball. Come out and fire off the ball. We going on one. My skill position so proficient, break for long runs. Come out running that option. That mean I got the option to keep that or pitch that. Defense, they gotta fix that. Four receivers, we spread them out in the shotgun. Hot reads, I got some. My tight end, so awesome. Touchdowns, I toss some. We score 6, scoreboard, that score 6. Respect the ball, we protect the ball. We don't fumble, no throw picks. I feed my linemen pancakes, so all they blocks are pancakes. Push you around like all night. End of the game, get your handshakes, huh? My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win. We just came to win. Win. We just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win. We just came to win. Win. We must protect this house.
Hello, counties across the entire Cleveland, Lincolnton, Magneton, whatever, all the people are here from all over the football games from around the area. Of course, we have Dennis Davis, as usual, the man. Then we have the myth.
I can't hear me.
You can't hear you? Well, that ain't
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're good to go.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I messed up your introduction.
Oh, you missed it now. Yeah, it's over now.
No, sir.
And you see Andre on camera. Well, he was on camera a few minutes ago.
Well,
yeah, he's a little camera.
Can you at least give us a Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the man.
Welcome
I
to
waited all
the Ronaldo
There you
Alamo
go.
post-game show.
Whoop, whoop.
All right.
I actually might come in there and get on one of the mics just for
Yeah.
the fun of it, because I've never seen it on camera. So
All right.
Okay.
they need to see
I
my
mean, it's
beautiful
a
face.
mic available.
Well,
I don't
Kevin
know who
isn't
put
here
that
yet,
helmet
so
on.
yeah.
They put a helmet on my mic. I took it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
They put a Carolina helmet on mine and give me Carolina headphones, but then they put a Crest helmet next to me. Andre, this
I
is
did
your
that.
fault. This is your
I
fault.
did. This is me. I came in and just wanted to congratulate the
My heart goes out to Kings Mountain.
the Crest Chargers on winning the Big South.
Can you say we're number one?
We are number one.
You
Joel,
sicken
where
me.
are you? Come on down.
And
We got
Also-
steak tips
also
from
wanted-
Sagebrush.
I also want to congratulate the Kings Mountain Mountaineers.
Oh, yeah, great
Amen.
Great season for them.
Woo.
What a fight they put up this season. They lost 2 games, but I hate it for anyone that has to face them in the first round.
Well, we can take credit because Coach Lloyd is a Crest guy.
Hey, we can
He was a
take credit.
record-holding defensive back at Crest, and his
can.
lovely wife Beth was one of my all-time best students. I won't say any more than that. She's a real sweet girl, and they've got some nice kids. I don't know the kids, but Greg and Beth, I wish you the best. The way this shakes out, believe it or not, folks, the worst team in Cleveland County is the conference champion.
It's the truth. We got beat by everybody in the county.
Burns beat us.
Yep.
Shelby beat us by 30.
Yep.
And
those are the early 2 games. And what
that
happened
was before Graham came back after his injury. And I'll just say congratulations. Will and I will be good winners. Will and I will talk a little bit later about the Green Bay and Panthers game Sunday.
Boy. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
He's pulling for the green and gold, I'll give you that much.
Got that right. We're gonna run down some scores. We got a lot of scores to get in.
Let's get those
last
scores.
Week of the season.
And then we'll talk about that drawing that doesn't matter now.
It doesn't.
Because Crest beat 2 teams tonight. You see, they had the drawing today. Huss was number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
If Kings Mountain had won, Huss would have been number 1. Crest was number 2. Kings Mountain was number 3. And I think about the second week of this tournament, you would have had the 1 and the 3 seeds. Well, Will, what that probably means now is since Kings Mountain's probably going to be the 3rd team, you're going to end up with Crest and Kings Mountain again.
Right.
And I don't know if you can beat Kings Mountain twice.
That's going to be a rough task. I mean, it was a big task tonight. It was a big task to beat them tonight because coming over when I left and was heading to the station, they was up 14, and I got here, they was driving and down a touchdown. They scored a touchdown there and tie the game up and kick an extra point. The game's over. They Crest loses this game.
Well, I'm counting on Trey Albright to call me and tell me what happened because I left at halftime and it was 14-12 Kings Mountain. And Calvin texted me a score. I said, while I was waiting on our sagebrush delicious steak tips tonight, I was waiting to pick up.
Tips and rice.
And the
point.
You can have the rice. I'll take the steak. Anyway, while I was waiting on that, he said Crest was ahead. And I thought, huh? But it's that quick strike offense. So Trey will tell me what's going on tonight. He'll give us an update on the Springmore Bulldogs in the Youth League. We always like to hear from the guys out there. They're going to be the future Bulldogs and Chargers and Mountaineers and all that.
Yeah.
But right now, Will, this is a post-game scoreboard show, so give us some post-game scores.
All right, big shocker tonight. Newton Conover 42, East Lincoln Mustang 21.
What?
Yes, big shocker tonight. Newton Conover coming away, beating them. East Lincoln was down at half. I think the score was 21-7 at the half. So
Who would have thunk it?
I
didn't get to hear the pregame show tonight with Terry and those guys. Did anybody pick Newton Conover? You didn't get to hear it either. I'm sorry, I forgot.
I can tell you what was picked on Wednesday, and none of us picked Newton Conover to win that game on Wednesday.
So that's an upset right there.
That's an upset from us guys at the South Fork 2A Athletic Conference show.
All right, more scores, Will.
Crest over at the Mountaineers, 40-34. Burns all over.
Wow.
North Gaston tonight, 63 to 0. Watching that game, and I didn't see any of the starters. That I was watching that game early in the second half, and I think all the backfield and everything had changed early in that game.
Well, I was listening to Jeff and Paul on the way over here to the station, and it was like 21-14 Shelby. But give them that final.
The final score over in Belmont, Shelby 49, South Point 21. Bessemer City, who was down at the half, 7-6.
Wow.
Came back and won the belt tonight, beating the Cherryville Ironmen 40-14. It was the...
Oh, man.
Is this a basketball score?
East Rutherford? Are you kidding me?
I hate to interrupt, but I got a phone call from Joe. He'll be here about 20-25 minutes.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome.
You can count on a man like that. Win or lose, you can count on Joel.
East Rutherford over East Gaston tonight, 76-27.
Woo, the Cavaliers had it going tonight.
Chase over RS Central 42-21.
Hey, now let's stop just a moment and give a shout out to the Trojans tonight. They have played a much improved brand of ball this year. The future is bright and shining for the Chase High Trojans. We salute you guys over there in that area. Sorry, Will, for the interruptions.
Macon over Lincoln 49-16. Forest View over Stuart Kramer 41-21. West Lincoln over Lake Norman Charter,
Terry Reinhardt's favorite team.
56-12. North Lincoln over Bandy's 50-13. West Iredale over Fred T. Ford 29-14. Drone over East Burt 38-7. High Brighton over Patton 52-0. Bunker Hill over West Caldwell 34-13. Thomas Jefferson over Union Academy 56-0. Hickory over St. Stephen's 37-34. That was a close
that was
game
a
there.
close one.
Freedom over McDowell 50-24. Alexander Central over South Caldwell 41-12. And Mountain Heritage over Polk County 28-21.
Sorry about that, Coach Hollis. Man,
It was some games that was blown out of proportion, but there was a lot of close games tonight as
Will.
well.
And you know, this is the final game of the season.
A lot of senior nights.
Yeah, a lot of senior nights tonight. But you know, I hate to say it, but you know, and I'm not picking on South Point because this is a strange year for South Point.
It is a strange year for South Point.
But I'm sure the basketball team will be starting practice Monday, and things will get back to normal.
See, who is the third place? That would be Chase.
Yeah,
South Point is not going to the playoffs.
because Chase beat South Point.
That is very strange for South Point not to be going to
I know there's some guys on the internet that will be highly upset.
the playoffs. Wow.
And speaking of upsets, we had a few tonight, I would think. I think that Newton Conover East Lincoln game, I would call that an upset.
I think it was an upset. I really do. And Coach Pack and Coach Luke, both great coaches. I just think Coach Pack came out and had it in his head that they was gonna come out and play physical. Something they ain't done all season. I just haven't seen them. Only time I really think they played really physical was when they played against teams that couldn't be physical back.
Well, Will, to not make too much of it on behalf of the Crest Chargers, but I think a lot of people were calling them the underdogs in this game tonight.
They were.
And as I said, it was 14 Kings Mountain, 12 Crest when I left at halftime, and the final score is 40-34 Crest. So I heard Graham just went wild there in the third quarter.
He did. Graham had a good game. Scooter Willis, he had a good game. He caught a pick six, ran it all the way back.
Hey, great.
So it was a couple of guys that had stepped up tonight. Some guys that you had been counting on.
Yeah.
He had I think the last I heard he had 184 yards and like 4 touchdowns. I think I might be wrong on the touchdown, but
Well, he has made a difference in this Crest team. I would say, some folks out there that are looking to go to another level, you might want to look at this Graham kid. I remember a guy played at Crest, Jalen Moore.
Yes.
Jalen had 2 offers.
Yes.
I was talking to Coach McRae over at Gardner Webb. They were the only offer that Jalen had, and then Appalachian came in real late, and Jalen just grew up about a mile from Gardner Webb. He said he wanted to get out of town. I can't blame him.
Yeah.
He did pretty good up in Appalachian.
He did pretty good, and he's gonna do well with the Jets next year, taking a lot of corners from Le'Veon Bell. And so
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good situation for a kid to be in.
Well, the man, the legend, is here joining us in his. Is that North Gaston?
That's
North Lincoln hat.
It's North Lafayette.
It's got a Mustang on the back.
Yeah.
It's green, and
It's
he's
green
living
and
in
orange.
fantasy land. And we should get him a Charger hat.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
All right.
And we have any calls? Okay.
Not yet. Oh, by the way, Will,
No,
you'll be
we're
happy.
good. I mean, nobody's calling in, so I guess everybody's bored with y'all.
I wore my crest.
I'm not
tonight
bored. I
because
enjoy listening to y'all.
everybody knows that, I might tilt just a little bit towards crest.
Absolutely.
And I was walking out of the restaurant.
Put on the
with
helmet. Take off the hat and put on the helmet.
That helmet is not my size. I would put.
Yeah.
I was talking to
Yeah.
I don't need a helmet,
Dennis,
man.
but okay.
Leatherhead.
We actually might have a caller.
I actually played as a kid with a leather helmet. Actually, it was cardboard or something. I'll bring it some night. It's orange and
Guys,
blue.
we got Tom on the phone.
Tom
Yep, Tom.
Sinafani.
Yep.
The 62-0 Tom Sinafani.
63 to nothing.
Yeah,
63.
it's not much of a game. Really, I really feel sorry for the North Gaston Wildcats as they just really. This was a non-conference game for them at the end of the year. I'm sure they would have rather just not played this thing. They've just had a hard time, and really this thing was over from the get-go. They were running the clock in the second quarter. It was 36-0 after a quarter, and they just fumbled on 3 straight possessions. I mean, it's just it was just out of hand in a hurry, and I got to see a lot of the Burns reserves there in the second half, and I think the future looks pretty bright. We're losing a good many seniors next year, so all these guys got in the second half going to have to step it up next year. But really just a little tune-up. I thought Goodson did a good job in relief of Sweezy tonight. Had some good-looking throws, had a touchdown pass to Degree. C.J. Hopper looked pretty good running the ball. Pryor had about the most amazing kickoff return for a touchdown. So all phases of the game, it was really was no contest. And as soon as North Gaston cut off the bus, I mean, this thing was over, Dennis.
Well, Tom, I know that you sometimes announcing a game like that can be a real task to try to keep the fans, up to date and excited and everything. I'm sure the Burns people loved it as much as the North Gaston people hated it.
Yeah, it was just, they did have some fans come and still support the kids, which I was glad to see. But they was just really, Dennis, I mean, just simple stuff. Snapping the ball on a punt, receiving the kickoff, handoffs, basic stuff that they just really struggled with. And they pretty much had to can their JV program and move some guys up. And I think what they did is they probably had some guys jump ship on them and kind of left them high and dry. And it was just rough. It was just rough for them. It was really, I really felt bad for them. I mean, it's just they just didn't have a lot, and I think they showed up so they didn't get fined, Dennis. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but
more lynched it.
We had a contract, so we played.
Yes, but they said they didn't want to play JV, and we said that was fine, and so they canceled out the JV and just played the varsity. But a lot of their JV guys, I mean, they handed me a roster, and it was like all marked out with all these guys that weren't on the team and JVs that were brought up. So I really hope for their sake they're able to put it back together a little bit. They've got a pretty proud sports tradition over there, and hopefully this is just temporary for them, and they'll be back and competitive soon, I hope, for their sake.
Well, speaking of a proud sports tradition, I want to take a moment of personal privilege and tell your mom happy birthday. I saw you had all gathered together, the Sinafani clan, for watching the Cleveland Browns, a proud sports tradition that Kevin has now joined the family. You should have invited him to your mom's birthday party, but what the heck is going on in Cleveland, Tom?
Well, they just, you can't...
Baker
you can't just, turn it all over to, I think it's you got inexperienced coaching staff. You got, wide receivers out there wearing shoes painted like the Joker. You got all kinds of, you got some stupid stuff going on, I think. I just think it's overall just kind of a lack of discipline. And you have high expectations and it falls apart, and then, stupid stuff starts happening. So,
well, you've got some talented players.
What's that?
You've got some talented players.
Doesn't matter if you have the best ingredients if you don't have the chef to put it together. If you know what I mean.
There you go, Tom. Well said.
So they I think they're going to continue to struggle. And, you know, we're going up there to watch them this weekend. So when I bought my tickets, I had pretty high expectations that this was going to be a good season for them. But now, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be hard to watch as Buffalo's been having a pretty good season and we're not. So we'll see what happens. But just disappointed. Hope for better. But, you know, the most uttered phrase in Cleveland, wait till next year.
I've heard that before. But you guys
Yeah,
did
like-
re-sign Kluber to about an $11 million contract. So, you know, it'll be baseball season before long.
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, it's really too bad because there's just a lot of wasted talent and opportunity. But when you got two wide receivers of the last game that have to change the cleats at halftime, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just stupid stuff. I mean, you know, your focus is not on the game, and, you know, you got guys that are kind of about themselves and, you know, quarterback melting down at press conferences. It's just a crap show right now. I don't know what else to say, Dennis.
On a more positive note, Tom, I noticed that, you know, the projections of the playoff really don't come out tomorrow until 4 o'clock. They do at 2 o'clock, and then hey, we messed up here, we messed up there, and the corrected form comes out about 4 o'clock. But I'm looking at the playoff projection sheet that's laying here on the table. I don't know who did these. Kevin, did you do these?
That's highschoolovertime.com.
High school overtime. They have Burns, Tom, as the number 5 seed, and you'll be taking on the number 12 West Lincoln Rebels. This is something Terry Reinhardt has dreamed of, coming to Cleveland County and beating a team. But I think he's going to find his dream is going to be a nightmare. Although I love the Rebels and I love Terry Reinhardt, the worst pick, he got Shelby in the first round last year, and he gets Burns this year. Let's all pray for
A
Terry.
red hot Burns this year.
Let's pray for Terry.
Yeah, it's going to be, you know, I think West Lincoln, if that is the matchup, then West Lincoln's going to come in there with a chip on their shoulder, Dennis, because they've heard a lot of us on the radio pretty much saying they don't have a chance. So they're going to come out there with nothing to lose. Yeah, they've not got the talent that Burns has. I think that's pretty obvious, but they do have a lot of grit. They do have a pretty good offensive line, as Terry has said, and you know, I think they're going to come out and give 100% everything they got.
Oh, yeah.
And
And they're a good team.
Stuff happen, a turnover here and a penalty there, and you just never know what can happen, Dennis.
Do not underestimate West Lincoln. I hope the athletic directors for West Lincoln and Burns get together at halftime of that game and decide to schedule a regular season game.
Absolutely.
I mean, the schools are 10 minutes apart,
I mean,
so to speak.
they're like 15 minutes. 15
Natural
miles.
rivalry.
Yeah, it's natural rivalry.
Yeah.
You're in the next county over. It's in Vale.
Let's make it happen.
I mean,
Stop
absolutely.
at Jan's, get some chicken, go on up, or go to Mitchum's Kitchen, get some good chow, and then go to the game
Goes to
and
the game.
you know, let the best team win.
It'll definitely be. It would be a fun rivalry. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it's kind of like Burns and Cherryville used to play years ago, and you would like to see some of the local schools play each other. I'd like to see, you know, Creston and Cherryville do play in baseball.
We used to
think
play
that's good.
Cherryville. The problem was we had to drop it because Cherryville used to beat us all the time, and so did Lincolnton, and so did Bessemer City, and then we grew up and matured, and we got rid of that punter. What's his name? Centophani.
Yeah, that was the key.
That
to
was
the
the whole
success.
problem right there.
I don't think. See, you taking Settle Funny back too far because I don't think I ever recall ever playing those teams. So.
Well, that's back in the Max Beam days, and for all you folks who are listening out there, look here, look.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Anyway, I coached with
I
Max.
couldn't believe that you guys said that South Point won't be eligible for the playoffs. You guys don't think South Point's going to make it?
Well, Chase beat South Point, and Chase won tonight. South Point lost. So who have you got? Shelby won. Who would be 2 in that conference?
Burns would be
Tom,
too.
Burns.
Tom, coming into the projections coming into that, South Point was a 13 seed coming into tonight. The good news for them is
Basketball starts Monday.
East Lincoln lost as an 11 seed where they were. RS Central lost as a 15 seed where they are. So they're still probably in the same area maybe for that. It just depends they've got Chase in the small 2A, and they've got and so they've got South Point up in the 2 AA.
There is hope in Belmont.
So what happened with that was the same thing when they split these conferences. Actually, you know how we got excited about Bessemer last week? Thomas Jefferson's in the low 1A. We're the conference champions.
Wait a minute. So you want to schedule Crest
so
next
Bessemer
year?
is in the big 1A, and Thomas Jefferson's down in the small. So we'll get the number 1 seed out of the conference. So a lot of that is going to happen. I think Terry was mentioning the 4A schools, to Tom, how that's going to, or the 3A 4A split conference, how this affects these things when you go big and small like this.
So that means Chase as well, and then Chase would be the conference champions of the the 2A.
Yeah, coming in tonight they had Chase as an 8 seed, Tommy. You guys is a 5, but you know that could I think you guys could be maybe we're 4, 5, 6 or something like that maybe.
Never underestimate the stupidity of the state of North Carolina.
and when those Max Prep rankings come out, remember
those California guys know us real well.
They still hadn't changed the Cherryville coaches thing on there in 6 years. So that's the Max Prep.
Whoever plays Burns next week, folks, Tom Sinofani, Matt Royster, must listen. If you're a Burns fan, must listen.
Tommy, possible opponents based on this: North Surrey, Bunker Hill, West Lincoln, South Point, Wilkes Central, East Lincoln, Pisgah, and RS Central.
Would that be a home game for
Yeah,
Burns?
it's a Burns ship. Everything's predicted home game.
And he's looking at that we might play Ashe County in the second round, and that would just be terrible.
I hope it's a home game. I hope
right now they got Ashe at 4 and Burns at 5.
Oh dear, Tommy.
But Ashe might be winning their conference.
Hey,
that's
ask
why.
for some travel money.
Yeah.
We'll buy you some hot dogs, Tommy. I promise.
I mean, it's going to be. I mean, you know, the sad thing is Burns is going to have a lot more talent than Ashe County, but it's just one of those things where
We got a call.
because you won your conference up there, that we're going to have to travel up there. So,
Well,
I mean, it just sucks, but it is what it is.
Well, Tommy, in the meantime, we got a couple of callers waiting in line here. And Joel has arrived, a man of honor and virtue. So, Tom, good luck next week, wherever you may be. I hope it's in Lawndale, playing somebody that you can beat at home.
All right, Dennis, I appreciate it. I'll enjoy listening to the show.
And,
Thanks a lot.
Go Ohio State. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's a whole other story. We'll get into that tomorrow. But,
I see you
in the morning.
Time.
All right.
All right, man.
JP, we got a caller?
Hey,
Jeff Miller.
you there? Hey, Jeff Miller, what you doing?
All right, he should be on.
Hey, Jeff. Forest View tonight.
Yes, sir. That's where I was at.
All
Well,
right.
tell us all about it.
All right. Going to give you some good tidbits right here. Forest View won 41-21. You know, Kramer, you know, I want to open this up by giving Kramer, you know, props. They didn't back down. You know, their playoff hopes were probably shot even before the game started, but it didn't matter to them. They came and played Forest View hard. After Forest View scored, they tied it up at 7. Then after it was 20-7 at half, Forest View got the ball back, and then Kramer stopped them, and Kramer cut the lead to 20-14. But Forest View pulled away after that, and pretty much outscored them 21-7, and that made the final 41-21. But I also want to give a shout-out to Forest View running back Jamarian Dawkins, who eclipsed 1,000 yards on the season tonight.
Well, good for him. Let's give him a shout-out.
232 yards rushing, and he's got 1,048 yards on the season. So, congratulations, young man. You know, classy kid, too. You know, he's, you know, very soft-spoken. You know, the kind of people you want to see succeed.
Well,
And,
Joel,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, high school football is about building character and learning lessons that will, you know, go on in life. he sounds like the kind of young man who's going to be successful off the football field as well as on the football field. And that's what high school football is all about, building those relationships and learning those life lessons that you can apply later on.
And, then his teammate Kamari Reed had 130 yards rushing on the night, and Graham Wiggins had 171 yards passing. But I think Kamari Reed scored 2 touchdowns on the night, and Dawkins had 3. And first touchdown was by Jalen Mims. A lot of kids did some great things, and Dawkins even had an interception in the first quarter to, start the fun off. Forrest, you had 3 takeaways tonight. They almost had a giveaway on a special team punt, but they were able to recover it. And, Stuart Kramer's first touchdown was from Justin Rockamore, the freshman quarterback, to Damian Bentley. And then Tyrese Morris had a touchdown reception for 26 yards, and then he had a touchdown run for 4 yards late in the game. So, Kramer had some weapons of their own tonight. They had a real young team this year, and they had a lot of injuries, so a lot of young kids had to step up. So I could see Kramer being a much better team next year.
Well, that's what we strive for, is improvement from year to year. And good luck to Kramer, and I know that the future is bright over there. Things are coming along. And
then Forest View is back in the playoff race after being out of it last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Forest View's got a real young team this year. I think they only started 7 seniors tonight, 4 on offense and 3 on defense.
Okay, well, the future is looking bright for them then.
And I hear y'all had a big game too, the Crest Kings Mountain game.
Well, Joel's here. I'm going to let Joel tell us all about it, because I left at halftime and Joel's team was ahead 14-12. So stay tuned, and Joel's going to tell us what actually happened, because I have no idea.
And does anybody have the Shelby South Point final?
We do.
49-21. It was a wrap.
And it was 21-14 at one point, Joel.
Well, Joel's my brother's name.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sitting right here looking across from Joel.
Joel's
He's got on
sitting in front of
this
us.
gold-colored thing, Mountaineer Strong, and I respect him and the Mountaineers greatly. But anyway, I'm sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to call you Joel.
It's all right. I've been called it plenty of times in my life, since I got a brother with that name.
And just don't let him call you Dennis, and you'll be all right.
No relation. But, I got a correspondent at CarolinaVarsity.com, who's been telling me all year that, Crest was going to topple Kings Mountain.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be that famous movie star by chance, would it?
Nope, his name's Alan.
Oh, it's the other one. Well, that's right. He's a South Point guy. Okay, we got a Hunter Huss Ashbrook score just in, Jeff. Hunter Huss 19, Ashbrook nothing. Mountain Island Charter 60, Highland Tech 0.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Well, we've got Steve Degree waiting on the line. So, Jeff, I know you'll be going to a game next week, covering it for CarolinaVarsity.com. In the meantime, we're going to hear from Steve Degree. I'm sure he's happy about the Shelby score tonight. So appreciate your call, Jeff.
Hey, thank you all very much. Y'all have a good weekend.
Okay, bye. All right, JP, give me a little Steve Degree here. Just cool your heels over there, Joel. We'll get to you in a little while. All right, Stevie.
What's going on, fellas?
Well, evidently you boys don't have very much sympathy for South Point's ups and downs this year. 49-21. When I listened, it was 21-14. I get over here and the game's over and it's 49-21. Tell me, Steve, what happened?
Well, after the second half, we came out. We played a lot better. Start running the ball a little harder. I tell people, Chevy, we throw the ball a lot, but once again, my Hogs, they take over. We can run it when we have to. Omar Phillips did a great job the second half. I think he ended up maybe 150 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. It was just a hard fought. It was a typical Shelby South Point game. When them two play, you can throw the records out. We've always had a tough time playing down at Lineberger Stadium, and tonight with no steps, same as always. But we just came out the second half and took control of the game like we had to get the conference championship.
Well, Steve, tell me about the line play. I know that's your specialty. Discuss your Hogs a little bit for us.
After the game, I did my traditional picture with my Hogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, the first half, that number 60 was getting on the quarterback pretty good. But the second half, we settled down and began to open up some holes for Omar Phillips. And we just ran between the tackles, and he's a power runner. And anytime they was running 3-man front, and they was dropping 8 back for the pass. So they was giving us some good blocking schemes. And so our guys just went back to the basics, and we ran the same play over and over and over, and they couldn't stop it. And that's good coaching. Once you see something work, you keep running until they stop it.
That's right.
And our Hogs, they done a great job. They put us down when we hold. They put us down when we illegal procedure. But at the end, like I tell people, we run it when we got to. Guys, we'll run it when we got to.
Well, Steve, I'm looking at these playoff projections here, which, as you know, you've been around this long. It doesn't mean anything until 4 o'clock tomorrow. But it's got Shelby, the number 1 seed, playing Bandies. And then it's got Burns, the number 5 seed, playing West Lincoln. And then it's got South Point down here, the 13th seed, playing Ashe County. The way this would work out, you would play the winner of the North Surrey-Bunkill Hill game if you beat Bandies. And then it looks like maybe the winner of the Burns-West Lincoln would have to play South Point. So you might very well see your toughest competition of the year. In my opinion, the Burns Bulldogs come back to George Blanton Stadium down there and see what's going on.
You have to pay them on. Got to pay them on the white grass, and we're just taking one game at a time, and don't overlook anybody because this is the second season. Because once before, you can get hot at the right time, and you can have 3 or 4 losses, and you still can win it. Because a couple times Shelby, we've had 4 losses, still came back and won the stake. So you got to take them one at a time, and study the films, and study the team's tendencies, and it shouldn't be anything that we hadn't saw. Through 11 games or 10 games, it shouldn't be nothing you hadn't saw. So you should be able to prepare your defense or your offense for anything you saw.
Well, you might want to
be glad to get them at home, though.
You might want to tune in Wednesday and hear what Will Boykins has got to say, because the number 2 seed is North Lincoln. And so somewhere down the road, there may be a slobber knocker between the Knights and the Lions.
That game between North Lincoln and Shelby, but it's got to work out. That'll be about the 4th week of the playoffs. It's got to pan out that's where they'll meet at. But I think those are the two on this side. Those are the 2 strongest teams in this Western bracket.
To get South Point, that'll help us with the North Lincoln because they'll run the football team too, and you got to be assignment. You got to have assignments. If you don't, like tonight, one missed tackle, they take it to the house. You got to play assignment football when you play against the option team.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Steve. We wish
if that happens, you got to be heavy, a whole lot better than what they did tonight because North Lincoln run that thing like a train. I mean, it just struggles along, and you're gonna have to be heavy. But that's 4 weeks from now, if that game ever happened. We worried about the next game.
A lot of things can happen in 4 weeks.
We got a couple of weeks to get in here before we get to that.
Strange things happen on the football field, as Joel can tell me about here in just a little while.
Okay. Also, Dennis, once again, I had picked Chris to win.
Yeah.
Part of the Chargers over there. Like I said, a lot of people would not pick the county rivalries, and I just don't understand that. It's about the kids.
Well, at this time of the year, Steve, we root for Kings Mountain, Shelby, Burns, Crest, Cleveland County teams. Now, if I was in Gaston County, I'd be rooting for Huss, and South Point and everybody else. But we do look after the local teams. If I was in Lincoln County, I'd be so proud of those North Lincoln Knights and the West Lincoln Rebels and the East Lincoln Mustangs and the Lincoln Wolves. But right now it's playoff time, and this is where we separate the wheat from the chaff. Get down to the nitty gritty. It's time to either fish or cut bait, Will.
Tell you what, you went real bitter with the wheat and the chaff.
Oh. Can I get an amen, brother?
Amen.
Let me.
Glory in the house of the KTC Broadcasting Studio Church.
Somebody let JP out.
Somebody let
JP, grab that plate back there and let's take up an offering right quick.
Hey, you brought up,
amen, brother.
See, y'all should have brought church. JP got a little feeling it in there. He was feeling the Holy Ghost there, Steve.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Also at the South Point game, there was a kid last name Hastings.
Yeah.
And he made a tackle.
Yeah.
And the announcer called him Kevin Hastings.
And I heard it I was actually listening at the time. It is
for real. They said the wrong name, so
hey, nothing.
That should make y'all feel pretty good.
It was the kid's name was actually something else, and they read the guy above him and mixed up the two or something like that. But I was actually listening. Jeff and Brent laughed about it and made the comment on radio too about it when it happened.
Hey,
they said Calvin Hastings on the tackle.
Hey, Steve, it would have been the first tackle that Hastings made. I got to give him a hard time.
I got a plaque.
I
got a plaque says defensive MVP down the hall, but would beg the difference.
I'm going to let Kevin tell you.
Bessemer City won that game.
What do you mean who won that game?
Bessemer City came back from at the halftime. It was 7.
It was 7-6. I want to give a shout out. So at that time, other little cuz, basic grind staff, playing defensive end, 10th grader. Bessemer went for 2. He's the one that made the stop. Kept the end, made the stop. They tried to run the sweep on him, and he at that point going into halftime, when I left, they were winning 7-6, and I got to go home. My son took some pictures of Mason. He loves him to death, and got to go home and tell the wife, that your nephew right now, game ends this way, just made the game-winning tackle, but it turned out otherwise as in the second half. But yes, Steve, we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. Best City pulled away in the second half. A lot of balls on the grounds tonight. I don't know. Was it a little fumbly out there at South Point? I didn't get to listen a lot to that, other than the Calvin Hastings big tackle there.
Yeah, it was some turnovers. Also, the sophomore Santana Flat probably made one of the key players of the game. He came in to sack the quarterback and stripped the quarterback, and then Jimmy Wisner picked it up and ran it back. He ran all the way down to the 3-yard line.
Oh, wait a minute.
Omar took it in from there.
Jimmy Wisner is my cousin, but he lives in Bessemer City.
Oh,
it's a different one.
the wrong Jimmy Wisner, brother.
Yeah. Hey, let's don't go there, Will. Let's don't go there. Steve, I appreciate it, my man. We'll look forward to hearing from you next week, regardless of who you're playing. Looks like you got Bandies next week, but
maybe if Bandies makes it. They lost tonight. They were on the bubble, so Bandies might not. It might not even be. Not.
Do
might
we
not
have
be
any announcers that
might
work
be
here
RS
that are
Central,
Bandies
Steve.
fans?
It might be the Hilltoppers.
But anyway, whoever we play, I'm sure Coach Wilbanks and the rest of the coaching staff have those kids ready to play. So far, they've been practicing real good. I've been going over there at least once or twice a week to watch them practice. And these guys, they're real focused. They got great senior leadership, and they're ready to go.
One at a time, Steve. That's all it takes. One at a time.
One at a time.
Appreciate you calling, my man.
All right, y'all fellas have a good night.
All right. Joel, you've been over there patiently waiting. You were up 14-12. I had to leave. I don't know if that's good or bad, but tell me what happened from there on, because it sounded like it was a back and forth.
I'll tell you it is. You missed a great second half.
I did.
Well, Crest got momentum right before halftime with that big touchdown run. and made it 14-12. Then, of course, Kings Mountain gets the ball in the second half. We turned it over. Chris made them pay for it, so it went to 19-14. And like Chris had momentum again, and I forgot what I don't know. It's kind of strange. I don't know what that Chris guy on defense was doing. But all I seen was a Kings Mountain clapping, and I said, it must be unsportsmanlike, because it was 14-12 or something like that. And all of a sudden it was 14-2, so Kings Mountain went for the first down, got it, and then it got our momentum back, and it was, all of a sudden it was 20-19. Chris gets it back, and it was back and forth.
Just a slobber knocker.
And then that turnover, that pass interception made it 33-20. Of course, Kings Mountain didn't panic, and we settled down, and drove right back down, scored real quick, made it 33-26.
What would you say the key to this game was? Because I wasn't there, so I'm going to rely on you, Joel. What was the key to the difference in the Chargers and the Mountaineers?
Chris made the big plays.
Yeah.
That was y'all's strongest point of the game. We just couldn't stop y'all. Flat out, we just couldn't stop y'all. And then it seemed like when we do, and then we get right back in it. It was back and forth. And I just got to give it to Graham, though. He ran all over us tonight. And Chris made it. They just seemed like we were stopping them. They made the big plays.
Well, you realize that we may have to play against you. All right. Well,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's I hope it doesn't turn out that way. But the good, this 3A, this 3A, the low 3A and the big 2A are going to be some of the most exciting, tough, competitive
like
playoffs.
I told everybody, we're going to face Chris in the second round or Huss in the second round.
Yeah.
One and two.
Neither good. Well, we got a couple of callers waiting here, so JP, give me line 1 there. Trey Albright, put him to the front of the line here.
What's going on, Dennis?
Hey, I heard you might have a little something to say about this game tonight. Talk to me.
I'm proud of the Chargers tonight, Dennis. I'm telling you, I'm a proud Charger tonight, and they fought. They outplayed Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain outgained them as far as yardage goes, but you can't have 2 or 3 turnovers and 100 yards and penalties in a big game and win. So, every time, it's like a heavyweight fight. You said slobber knocker. Every time Kings Mountain scored, Chris had an answer. So Chris came back and big play after big play. I think Chris only had 5 first downs in the whole game. And if you would have told me that before the game, I would have said we got beat by 30. But they played some great football. They're playing really good right now. And speaking of the playoffs, guys, I think the best teams in 3A are coming out of the Big South.
Yes,
so
all of them.
whoever Kings Mountain plays next week, Kings Mountain's going to roll. If they go on the road, whoever they play, if they see Statesville in a couple of weeks, they're going to beat them. Hunter Huss is going to roll. These 3 teams are playing really good right now. That was 2 good teams tonight going toe-to-toe with each other. Kings Mountain turned the ball over probably a little bit more than what they wanted to. The penalties probably hurt them. They had a couple intentional groundings that took them out of some field position, but the second half they scored. I think Joel hit it. We were up 33-20, and they hit a 80-yard pass, and then we come right back and score on that next possession. So, Jalen Graham, man, what a workhorse he's been the last 5 or 6 weeks, guys. He had 210 yards on about 9 or 10 carries tonight and 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
And, I mean, he just really
big difference with him coming back healthy.
Well, he's healthy and he's running hard, guys. There's no tiptoeing to the line with him. He's hitting the hole, and he come to the sideline one time and made a move on I think number 45 or 44 for Kings Mountain, and he hit the sideline and he was gone. So it was. That's the Jalen Graham that we all know. So,
well,
yeah. So
Trey,
TJ Ruff, I think, had one of the plays of the game too, right before halftime, guys. He did a 60-yard run.
Oh, Trey,
right before halftime to get them within 2. So I think that was a big momentum swing there before halftime.
Trey, I've got to ask, when I left at halftime, one of the Crest players was laying on the turf, and it looked like maybe a concussion or something. Can you give me an update on his condition?
Yeah, I actually had Tyree Watkins grub, so I talked to him on the sideline, and when he come back, he was out of the game. After that, he just jammed his neck, I think, a little bit. His pads got up to his neck, and, I think he's fine. He says he's good, so I think it might have been more precautionary because he was coming off a concussion a couple of weeks ago. So, probably more precautionary to hold him out. So I think he's good. Well, otherwise, I think we'll come out pretty healthy. Had some nicks and cramps going on tonight. So
a lot of tough playing.
Yeah, it was a hard-hitting game, and it was. We've heard all year about how Kings Mountain's defense is, and their front seven was, you can't score, we ain't gonna score. And, I'll take 40 points anytime.
Well, Trey, I've got to ask, the Springmore Bulldogs, you guys in the playoffs, have you got any more problems, fans running on the field or anything going on?
Last couple of weeks, we've been good. So, the other fans have behaved themselves. So, a couple weeks ago I called in. Apparently I riled up the upper end of the county when I made the comment about the school. So, I call in. I don't sit at a keyboard and get on NC Prep and type up stuff under a name. So
yeah.
I'm going to call in and let you know what's going on, and not going to sit behind the keyboard and then call a person and complain about it. So
you put the face with the words, and I'll have to tell you, anybody that objects, Trey's a pretty big boy.
No.
I believe he can handle himself, too.
You take the pretty out of that. Trey is
a
big old boy.
Yeah, delete that pretty. He's just a big boy.
That pretty. Trey a big boy.
Yeah. So, we're in the playoffs starting. We're in the playoffs starting tomorrow, guys. We beat Shelby Lions last week 14-6. It was a hard-fought game. Shelby came to play, and we pulled it out there in the second half. Our defense played really good. Caused 2 turnovers there at the end, and it's our quarterback. He's a tough little guy, old Brock Melton. He made some plays, and the receivers and running backs made some plays too. So, we're going in pretty healthy, and we're looking forward. Next 3 weeks, we got to win and kind of win this championship this year. And play Rutherford County team tomorrow at 4:00. So it's going to be under the lights, I'm assuming. So it'll be behind, I'm sure, that one time-wise. So. Come on out and see. I think every team, every division plays tomorrow at Crest High School, starting at 8:00. So,
well, listen, Trey, y'all done had your discussion about everything else. I want to know how my favorite center in youth football is doing today.
He's doing good. He had a good game last week. Our offensive line played really good. So we made some holes last week, got some runs. And, his snaps were good, so hey, can't ask much more than that.
Well, Trey, I hate to do this. We'll be talking to you next week, I'm sure. But we got another Crest fan on the line here, so we're going to see who he is and what he's got to say about the Crest High Chargers.
Hey, Joel, we'll see you in a couple weeks, buddy.
Okay.
All right, let's talk to our fan real quick. Who we got on here, JP? Real quick before we go to break, got a Crest fan. Want to brag a little bit about your Chargers?
Surely not.
Hello.
Who we got?
This is Brandon Phoenix.
All right.
I was talking about the Kings Mountain Crest game, man.
All right, lay it on me.
Yes, sir.
Man, them boys played terrific. Crest played terrific, man. They kept playing hard. They did what they had to do to win that game, man.
Well, I tell you what, I left at halftime, and you know what the score was. It was 14-12, and I had a Crest Charger laying on the turf down there. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, and Trey Albright just told us, and Joel, I got to give him creds. He's a Kings Mountain guy. He came into the station. He's taking it like a man. But, I think 2 of the better teams around, Kings Mountain and Crest. Let's give kudos to them. And I'll throw Huss in there, too.
Oh, yeah.
And so the playoffs, I think, are looking good for those 3 teams, except in that second round, we may have to play them guys again in about 2 weeks or so.
We might have to, sure enough, because we're just looking there, they're powerhouse and we're powerhouse as well. So we might have to play them boys again, sure enough.
Well, I tell you what, my man Graham is running like a man. And Ruff, I think he just ought to get him a little hat and a rabbit and go to Vegas and do a magic act. Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts on the playoffs? Do you think the Chargers can continue their winning ways?
They should, man. If they play hard and stay healthy, man, and drink plenty of water, quit having these cramps, they should be all right, man.
That's what I see.
Buy them boys some
temperature
Gatorade.
The temperature drops, so the kids don't drink water during the day like they do in the summertime.
Yeah,
they don't keep themselves hydrated because the temperature is
But your muscle says, remember me?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember me, I'm back. It'll get you. It will get you, man.
I'll tell you what, that's a painful thing, too, when you go to cramping out there on the field, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. You know, what got me, though, when Scooter intercepted and carried back for a touchdown, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Man, it was just pretty right to him, man. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Old Scooter, Demetrius would say Scooter run like him, but I went to high school with old Demetrius. I went to school with his daddy. I know he don't run like him. He run way faster than old Demetrius. Old Meek, he played on that front five. He didn't play in that back five.
Hey, all I can tell you, do, John, man, hey, it's good to hear your voice, man, and everything. Hey, I ain't going to comment on that one. Yeah, I'll probably see me later on.
Oh, well.
But thanks for let me talk to you over the air and everything, and y'all drive safe and going home and everything.
We appreciate you calling, man.
We look forward to talking to you next
Call
week.
us back. All right, folks, we got some conference champions across the board. We'd like to hear more from some of our listeners. We're going to take a break.
Hey, if anybody was at that East Lincoln game, please call in.
I want to hear from some West Lincoln Rebels.
We're going to take fan calls up until is 11:30. About the next 15 minutes, folks. We're going to take a big break here. After that, we've got to go over the conference champions.
Yeah.
We've got to go over tonight's MVPs on KTC Broadcasting.
And
then
any
we've got to
pairings is just speculation.
Yeah, all pairings is speculation.
Tomorrow
right
at
now.
4 o'clock will be the final pairing.
And then we've got to go over the end of the regular season power poll on KTC.
Did the cream finally rise to the top?
Yes, they did. And I promise we're going to upset some of you. But the season is not. The season is not over. And you guys just got to keep an eye on it. All right, JP, we'll be back in just a minute on KTCBroadcasting.com.
If you feel like you're having a Mac attack, then buzz on over to Barnett's Beehive Restaurant on Highway 180 North Post Road in Shelby. For over 45 years, the Barnett family has been serving delicious food to Shelby and Cleveland County residents. Over 20 different sandwiches to choose from. And at lunch, select from 2 specials with 7 different meats and 12 different vegetables to choose from, plus their selection of fish too. And breakfast is served all day long. Barnett's Beehive Restaurant, open 8 to 7 Monday through Friday. For orders to go, call 704-482-3746. Don't get buried in debt this fall. Basic Finance in Shelby has the cash you need. Drop by their office and see them soon. They'll have you jumping for joy. Maybe you need cash for a new mower, a new car, or home improvement. Basic Finance in Shelby has the cash you need. Just call 704-481-0111 or drop by their office at 306 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Again, get approval today. Call 704-481-0111 for Basic Finance Company. Remember, golf on Saturday, church on Sunday. Need to earn some extra cash? We have the answer. See Beata Home Health Care and join their growing team of healthcare professionals. They have full and part-time positions with immediate opportunities in Lincoln, Gaston, and Cleveland counties. Ask about their new pay rates, and a special sign-on bonus is available. $250 for CNAs and $100 for HHAs. Just call 704-669-4000 or visit the website at Beata.com. Beata Home Health Care. We love what we do. Now through December 15th, get up to $1,500 in instant rebates with the purchase of qualifying American Standard equipment from Bill Schubert Heating and Air in Shelby. But that's not all. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months Come on in or call for all the details at 704-484-0025. Again, up to $1,500 in instant rebates on qualifying American Standard equipment and special 0% financing up to 72 months. Bill Shuford Heating and Air, 213 Campbell Street in Shelby. Online at BillShufordHVAC.com. Here's the news. Blanton Cars in Shelby has moved. They have moved to their East Lot location at 1711 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Blanton Cars in Shelby is your original buy here, pay here dealership. Make your payments online by calling 704-481-0500 or check out their inventory at BlantonCars.com. Buy here, pay here at your original buy here, pay here dealer. That's Blanton Cars. Now at one location, 1711 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby.
And we're back on the Ronaldo Automobile post-game show. Are y'all on?
Well, I mean, we're
waiting on you,
JP.
JP.
We're getting into it.
I know
we're
Rob's
working
on the
our
line, hopefully. I don't know.
We're trying to convince Kevin he don't know what he's doing with his power.
I see kids.
Y'all been trying to do that all season.
You can't convince
You
me
think
of
he's going to
anything.
listen to you now?
Now,
Well, then why y'all still trying?
No.
I don't try. I just sit in here and push buttons.
He's got the team
But that's what I'm doing
that
out.
beat the 1 and 2 in
That's
third
what I'm doing
place.
out here.
So,
I'm sitting out here pushing buttons. I'm pushing
No, you're not
Kevin's
pushing any
buttons.
buttons. You're
Yeah,
just
I'm pushing
sitting there.
Kevin's buttons.
We've got
That don't take
callers.
Okay, all right.
We've got
Metaphorically
callers. We've
pushing
got
his buttons.
ADM numbers. We've got standings. We've got MVPs. We've got all kinds of things. First, let's go to Rob.
We don't want to talk to no
Rob
Eagles
Root.
fans.
We got to be quick, Rob.
Is that Rob
We've
Root?
got Ken Link on the
We
line
don't want
as
to talk to no
well
Eagles fans.
at the Newton Conner game. But anyway, Chargers with a big win tonight. Win the conference.
Hey, Rob.
I was really proud of Chris, how much they've grown this year. But I actually just wanted to call and talk about Cleveland County as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
This year, all four schools got some numbers for you. All four schools this year with 9 wins in the regular season, which is an incredible number for all 4 teams. 2 Cleveland County schools lost on their home field this year. Again, just an incredible number there. And guys, I know you was going to talk about some possibilities of matchups in the playoffs. If that Kings Mountain team, and right now it looks like some projections maybe it's an 8 or 9 seed in the playoffs, and Statesville looks like it's going to get the 1. I'd say it looks like a Statesville Kings Mountain matchup in the second round. And I'm sorry, Statesville Greyhounds, your season's over because Kings Mountain's going to come there and wear you out.
Joel likes that.
Hey, the truth is the truth, Rob. The truth is the truth.
And that's what gets me with the max prep ratings and all these things they want to talk about and they want to use for the playoffs. Well, then why don't we just go to a power poll and let's see 1 through 16? Because I truly believe if that was the case, 3 of the top 5 spots would go to Crest, Kings Mountain, and Hunter Huss in that 3A playoff. I think it's an absolute travesty that the fact that the Kings Mountain, who's been a top 5 3A team all year, could end up having to play in an 8-9 game. I just think that's just not right, as good as that football team is.
Oh, and let's face it, Kings Mountain is good. I'm saying that right here in front of Joel and Coach Lloyd. They have a good team. They could be state champions yet.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the 2 losses for Kings Mountain guys. The Hunter Huss game both. The key was Hunter Huss won the turnover battle, and Crest won the turnover battle tonight. If Kings Mountain's able to limit those turnovers, we're looking at an undefeated Kings Mountain team right now. So that's going to be key for them is to limit those turnovers and do the things they need to do. But, man, they are good. This Crest team's good. Shelby's good. Burns is good. Guys, we're in for a great ride the next few weeks when we get into the playoffs. Two county teams. I think it's going to be fun.
We'll be right here, won't we, Will?
Playoffs?
Playoffs?
We talking about playoffs?
Yeah, even Joel will be in the playoffs.
That's right. Well, guys, keep up the great work. I just want to congratulate all of our county teams tonight. And, again, let's go out and support these kids. We got to remember that. We're watching kids play a game, and men are having to get a little money. They're giving it everything they've got. Let's keep supporting them. A great crowd tonight. I thought at Sid Bryson Stadium, both sides were well represented.
Yeah.
Let's make sure Cleveland County would do that the rest of the way in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later, guys.
Hey,
Thank
JP.
you, real quick before we go to our next caller, Ken Link, just hold on 1 second. Some of the folks, it's the age of the internet, so everybody's a keyboard warrior nowadays behind the broadcast. KTC does not have to do high school sports. It's not a rule. There's not a law. Nobody's telling us, right?
By even addressing them, you put down all the people that appreciate what we do. So don't even address the negative. Don't even address the negative.
No, I just
because it puts down for the people who enjoys our broadcast, who enjoys watching our games and putting and listening to our games. It takes away from what they enjoy to even address anybody being negative.
What I want to get at is that the main point about that, Will, is that these are high school kids playing.
Yeah.
Some of our workers are high school kids, and just like refereeing, announcing, you're in the public eye a little bit, and one thing that I didn't like about umpiring and reffing a lot is that at no other business, like, Will, do I get to come in to where you work and sit there and yell at you for every mistake you make, or yell? Pick up the phone, Boykins. I mean, what if fans came in?
Terry. I go over to West Lincoln and holler at Terry.
I was probably the wrong one to use for that analogy because that's what people do at my job. I work in the public.
But I mean, how many? You know what I mean? But like, how often do just people just get to come into somebody's job or something that are doing? Well, you're doing a public service for it's a free broadcast. You didn't buy a ticket. You didn't pay for the broadcast,
but we did,
and we paid to be there, and we don't have to do it. You can start a company, or you can buy a radio station, or however you want. We do it because we love it. We love the high school sports. We got 25 people, roughly a night, 25, 30 people on Friday nights. Every single one of us, I think, this year, or most of us, went to a school in the 3 counties. Yeah. So we got Crest, Kings Mountain, West Lincoln. Ken and Tim Johnson played quarterback at Lincoln, and I went to Bessemer and Cherryville. Andre went to Cherryville. Jawan went to Cherryville. That does our broadcast for Kings Mountain. He also does the song for us. Dad grew up in Tryon area and ended up coming to Cherryville. Go through all of them. Jeff and Brent over at Shelby. Tom went to Crest. He's over at Burns now teaching. His daughter's there senior night tonight. Matt Royster's over there. So the people that are doing it, this isn't an ESPN professional as far as we're trying to be as professional as we can be about. What I'm saying is that we don't have the backing.
We have more fun.
We don't have corporate backing on this. We're having fun with this.
Look at Joel over here.
And for people to take high school sports as serious as some of you adults do, I'm sorry. I played 4 sports, and if you take it more serious than I do, then you're just being way too ridiculous about it because it's supposed to be fun. Like
Joel's
everything
here
about
tonight.
it,
His
it's
team
supposed
got
to be
beat.
fun.
If his team had won, Joel would have still been here. And he would have been.
He might have had pom poms on.
Hey, I've seen that act.
Well, I've been in a little bit later because I've been celebrating with the family.
You'd have stopped at Sagebrush and got a drink on the way in. Don't lie, Joel. I'm going to get some beef tips, fellas. Y'all want to buzz me up a little bit before I get over there?
He's sauteing them beef tips.
Have somebody drop him in Uber over here.
Well, we got Kenny
in the past. I've stopped at a Waffle House before I came.
All right. Well, we got Ken Lincoln Hall. Sorry, Ken, about that. I get on my little diatribe tonight, and
let's talk about something other than Crest.
Let's talk Newton Conover, East Lincoln. We're some Lincoln County sports. I want to thank all of our broadcasters, all of our viewers. Remember, in the playoffs, folks, more than likely, 99% chance we won't have any more video broadcast. Ken and Tim got to do a broadcast again up at Newton Conover tonight. Of course, Tim and guys, thank them for all the hospitality this season. Ken, let's talk about this South Fork 2A, how it played out. It looks like Maiden is getting the 2nd seed in that conference, and as East Lincoln fell tonight, Newton Conover won. And I'm told that Maiden, are they getting the 2nd seed, or does Newton Conover win the tiebreaker? What's happening with that?
No, Maiden beat Newton Conover, so they will finish to get the 2nd seed in there. They'll both finish with 5-2 records, but the Maiden gets the 2nd seed. Newton Conover gets the 3rd, and East Lincoln gets the 4th, and West Lincoln's 5th in there.
So looking at that, they had the projections that we got. Like we said, everything could be different. They've got north at the 2 and west down at the 12 right now, and Maiden in the 6th spot hosting East Lincoln. That could be Pisgah, that could be RS Central, could be Wilkes Central, could be South Point. So there's some of the teams Maiden could be looking forward to. North Lincoln maybe be playing Bandy's, Pisgah, Wilkes Central, and RS Central as well. Maybe even South Point, depending on the split. It looks like Chase is going low 2A. In the line, believe it or not, Shelby, TW Andrews, and West Lincoln all have 827 students, and that's the very bottom of the high 2A right now. And Bandy's is the very next team, and Newton Conover. So their conferences and our teams are being split right there. We got 4 teams in that 5-team area. So Bandy's and Newton, it looks like it's going down based, but coming into the night, don't know who qualified for the playoffs, but that's what it's looking like, Ken. And how do you see, let's start with this, Ken, real quick. If Chase and Newton Conover is down in that lower 2A, what looks like Chase is definitely in it. How do you see the run, either one of them making any type of a run in the low 2A first?
Well,
now remember Chase beat South Point 9-2 on the season.
Yeah. Newton Conover looked good tonight, but I was surprised. Most of us picked East Lincoln to win the game. I thought it wouldn't. I thought it would be a close game, but it wasn't close, folks. I mean, it's 28-7 high. The first offensive play of the game for Newton Conover. They threw a 40-yard touchdown pass to a sophomore named Zane Redmond. That was one of 4 touchdown passes he caught from the quarterback, Justice Craig. So East Lincoln couldn't cover the receivers, and when they got a pass rush, this Justin Craig he'd flush him out of the pocket, and he would get away and complete the passes. He did a good job of getting away from the pass rush, and they couldn't stop Newton Conover. Actually, second half, East Lincoln onside kick, recovered it, went down and scored, and cut it to 2-touchdown deficit. But immediately, Newton Conover marched down the field, got that touchdown back. So they dominated the game.
Well, Ken, like I said, I was talking about the line a second ago. West Lincoln and Shelby, if they want to be low 2A, they're going to have to hope a lot of teams above them make the playoffs. It's just weird how you go east, west, up, down, left, right based on these numbers. We never know till Friday night. What if, say, if one of them has to go low? I'm guessing both of them do because they got the exact same numbers. West Lincoln looks like if they're in the up, they might be on the road at Burns. If they're in the lower 2A, they might be 8-9 seed, maybe at Chase or something like that to start the first round.
Yeah, and I don't know how that's going to fare. West looked pretty strong most of the year, and then last week against East Lincoln they give up 63, and we're going like scratching our head. And East Lincoln, they're just so inconsistent. I mean.
That's what I was thinking. It's for them to put up the performance they put up last week against a very physical and capable West Lincoln team, and then come into the Newton Conover, who I think it's not as physical as a team as West Lincoln was. To watch them let screen after screen after screen go by them and try to get any kind of pressure on the guy that was stepping out there for the screen and not trying to jump at the ball. It was amazing to me.
They never adjusted to that all night long. They never did.
Well, Ken, just an observation, and I haven't seen them play, so I'm going to rely on you and your expert vision of the North Lincoln Knights. They seem to be the cream of Lincoln County and that conference over there. What's your take on that?
No doubt. They're much better than any other team in the conference. For example, they handled Newton Conover no problem. They handled everybody no problem. Their closest game.
Yeah.
Could we see somewhere down the... Excuse me, Ken, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, could we see somewhere down the line a North Lincoln Shelby matchup? That would be, I think, probably the most exciting game out of that bracket.
I think you can. Now, I've had the question, how good is North? Can they play with Burns? Can they play with Highbright? I believe they can, and I believe they're good enough they could beat those teams. Shelby, I don't know. But I know one thing, they're a much better team this year than they were last year when Shelby beat them. Much better, both sides of the football.
Well, let's
and they
give
have
Coach
dominated
credit for
this
that.
South Fork 2A.
Let's give Coach credit for that. He's doing a great job over there. And, you know, some things, anything's possible. I look at some of these scores up here tonight and go, wow, how did that happen? And, you know, North Lincoln, Shelby, it may or may not take place. But if it does, I know you'll be there reporting on that game. And it will be an interesting game. And the outcome, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Basil did a tremendous job. And I know you got coach speak and stuff, but every time we talk to him, he's like, these guys just keep getting better. They just keep getting better. We keep teaching them, coaching them. They just keep getting better. And so that's what I've seen all year. And they didn't have any trouble with Bandies. Went up there to Bandies tonight and blew them out as well. So they've just been dominating this whole league.
Well, it ain't hard to dominate when you got a guy by the name of Saru standing back there just popping everybody at the mid and long. Like, this kid is tremendous. Now, not only do they have Saru's, what's the quarterback's name? Landon Beard.
They got Sam Brady, who's committed to go to University of Virginia and play football. They got Ty Williams, a sophomore, who's their A-back, and he's a guy that's about 5'7", 170 some, but he's so put together and explosive. He plays middle
runs the
linebacker
fullback
as well as
now
running
in
ball.
that triple option. He plays the fullback spot.
He does. He does.
Sounds like he's a blocker.
Oh, jeez.
Takes him out, huh?
No, he hits the middle. He gets to. I think what makes the difference with Williams is he gets to that assigned hole on that option. He gets to that hole so fast. If they give him the ball, you still thinking that they faked it to him because he got there so fast.
Really?
You don't realize he got the ball. And the kid's pretty light on his feet. I mean, the first tackler doesn't take it back.
Great balance. And like you say, first hit doesn't get him. Even though he doesn't look that big, he's got great balance. He just doesn't go down easy.
Sounds like a recipe.
North Lincoln is much stronger than they were last year, and they can play. So if anybody, just a word of caution, anybody thinks, well, they're from, you know, South Fork 2A, they're Lincoln County, they can't hang with us, don't take them lightly because I think they can.
All right, Kenny. Well, any other comments or anything on the county or conference before you get out of here this weekend?
Watch out for Baden. I mean, they've come on pretty strong at the end of the season. I'd say they're playing excellent football right now. They only lost 2 games in conference. I'd say look out for Baden.
All right, Kenny. Well, that's Ken Lee. Thank you for giving us a call as always, Ken. And what you do on Fridays?
Hey, Kenny, I see you Wednesday on the Best in Sports Talk Show on WLON. We'll be talking a little football, basketball. We done finished up
Basketball's
with our
already started, I know.
We talking a little bit of racing. I know we finished up racing this week. It was this week or next week we'll finish up racing.
They work it down.
The last race, yeah.
All right, Kenny. Have a good weekend, buddy.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hey, we got another caller.
Ken Link there from the WLON game tonight. Newton Conover wins 42-21 over the East Lincoln Mustangs. Player of the game tonight, overall player of the game was Jake Sarouz, 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 receiving. Defensive player of the game tonight, Jacob Klein. For East Lincoln, defensive player of the game, Ben Cutter, 2 picks, a sack. He's a freshman. Player of the game, Polly Menegay, was 2 touchdowns for East Lincoln. And for Newton Conover, Zane Redmond, 4 touchdown receptions from Justice.
And I think he was saying,
last week was Sarouz. That was sorry about that. Last week was Sarouz. I gave him a plug for 2 weeks in a row. Good job, Jake.
Plug Sarouz.
You did great.
Hey,
all right, we got a phone caller.
He a bad man.
Last phone caller from fans tonight. Before we got to get into some other stuff. Who we got on the line? I want to say hello about the Shelby game.
Hey, caller, turn your radio down.
Turn your radio down.
What about them Shelby on the line?
There's Bobby. What's up?
Hey, Bobby.
Yes, I did go down tonight at Southport. It was a pretty good game. They had a little slow start out tonight at Don Berger Stadium, but nevertheless, they knew they was going to pull it out. Southport, they hung in there with us for a little while. It was kind of a little scary to start out, but I knew that the Lions would go ahead and pull it out before the game was over with. And they, had a little, they kind of kept our offense off the field at the beginning of the game. But nevertheless, Isaiah Bass and his crew, they finally showed up and started playing there in the latter part of the game.
Well, Bobby, I was listening to Jeff and Brent tonight on the way over here to the station, and it was like 21-14. Well, I got over here to the station. Next thing I know, y'all done opened up a can of that whoop stuff and that laid it on them.
They did score 2 touchdowns there. What they done what we call I guess you may call it the run and shoot option. They run it toward the weak side of Shelby. Yeah. And somehow, that was a hold, but they never called it. And somehow he got around him on the buck sweep, what I call it, option. And next thing I know, he was settling in for the touchdown, and that made it 14-7. And all of a sudden, Shelby come back and scored again. And then somehow they ran that same buck sweep. South Point did again, and they drove it to them. But Shelby was pretty confident that they would eventually figure out what they was trying to do. And I thought they was trying to keep our offense off the field as much as they could. That was about the best they could do for against Shelby tonight. But nevertheless, I just knew the Lions was going to pull it out. They didn't really play all that bad. Southport didn't, but they was trying to hang in there as much as they could, and finally Shelby just rolled on the victory in the second half.
49-21, and that's not even counting the 14 poachers down when you got off the bus.
Yeah, that's pretty well the size of it. Isaiah Bass and his crew, and some of the other guys, and Clay Husky and all of them, they just put the thing together. And I think one of the biggest things Coach Will Banks did was try to figure out what they was doing to run that buck sweep. And somehow they put them to sleep on it the second half of the game. And after that, it was just victory for Shelby on the way in.
Well, Bobby, we appreciate your eye coverage on that and your opinions and your support for the Shelby Golden Lions. The season is not over. It's just getting started. And you got playoffs.
Tonight also.
Yeah. You might need to break out a coat or something,
Playoffs?
Yeah, I tried to say as much as I could. It was pretty cool out there tonight at Lineberger Stadium. But nevertheless, the players, they just hung in there and they tried to stay loose. We had a couple of them maybe caught a couple of cramps tonight, but I think I'm so glad that they got through it.
Well, Bobby, we talked about that earlier. You just need to stay hydrated. You don't want to have to go over on the stretcher and pick them up because they're cramping up all the time. So have them hydrated up next week.
Oh, yeah, well, we're looking forward to the playoff. I understand North Lincoln, they really want us back, but we know we're going to get stronger. We don't know whether we have to play them or not, but if we do, we just wanted to bring it on because my Golden Lions will be ready to play them in the long run.
Be careful what you ask for. You just may get it.
There you go. But I guarantee you, Coach Basil is not looking past anybody he's got in front of him to get to that Shelby game. He's going 1-0 from here on out.
Well, right now, JP's giving me the signal we got to take a break. Bobby, thank you, buddy. Call us back and let us know how Shelby does in the playoffs starting next week. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Go Shelby.
All right. JP, take it away.
Is flooring in your refurbishing or building plans? Then see John Strickland at Bowling Springs Carpet and Tile, your full-service flooring center. John has quality brands such as Armstrong, Congolian, Mannington, and more. There's carpet by Mohawk, Shaw, Coronet, Galaxy, and many more. And you'll find hardwoods by Bruce and Hardcoat. Open 9 to 5:30 Monday through Friday and 9 to 1 on Saturday. Call 704-434-9019 or come by Bowling Springs Carpet and Tile, 137 North Main Street in Bowling Springs. Our prices will floor you. Since 1990, Bradley Sports has been this area's top supplier of custom screen printing, embroidery, team uniforms, athletic apparel, equipment, trophies, signs, banners, and magnets. Plus, they can also do vehicle lettering too. They are your one-stop shop. And now's the time to get your team letter jackets, and they are now your Adidas team dealer. Order your letter jackets for Christmas now. Bradley Sports, online at bradleyinc.com. Or drop by their store at 2522 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Open 8 to 5:30 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5 on Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturday. That's Bradley Sports. This is not just another ad for insurance. It's an ad for the Brawley Insurance Agency in Shelby. The agents at the Brawley Insurance Agency in Shelby are special because they've been helping customers in Shelby for over 20 years. They can help protect what is important to you, from auto to home. So call the Brawley Insurance Agency today at 704-484-2680. Remember, Nationwide is on your side. Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio. Subject to underwriting guidelines, review, and approval. At Brown & Howe Cosmetic Dentistry in Shelby, their goal is to bring smiles to life. And by doing so, you get the best in dental care. Brown & Howe Dentistry serves all of your family needs, including implant services. And they participate in Cigna, Delta Dental, United Healthcare, and MetLife insurance companies. And senior citizens get a 10% discount, and it applies to a list of services, including invisible braces. Call 704-484-0611 for your appointment. Brown & Howe Cosmetic Dentistry, 1210 East Marion Street in Shelby.
And welcome back to the Ronaldo Automo postgame show. Now, they've made fun of me for getting the callers wrong, but I know on the line right now is Jeff Jones. He told me this.
Hey, you got my name right.
Well, I expect to get your name right.
They don't think I'm gonna get your name right. He got a name right.
Yeah, I know. He said Jeff Jones right after I picked it up, and I told y'all it was Jeff Jones, but no, y'all didn't think it was Jeff Jones.
Thank you. Now turn Jeff up and get off the mic.
34-30. We got 34 that I said, but I got 40.
You just missed that by one number.
Well, I hadn't had a chance to talk to you guys this year, but I wanted to kind of echo what Rob said. We've had a great year in Cleveland County this year.
We have Shelby Golden Lions, #1 seed, Crest Chargers conference champions. Who would have thunk it after you beat us by 30 points, Jeff? I want to give credit to the Golden Lions for beating the conference champions by 30 points.
Crest was a very young team, and they were injured. They had a lot of injuries at that time.
No excuses. You won.
But boy, have they really caught fire. I guess that's what 7, 8 wins in a row now. And it's really strange. Rob mentioned it. Everybody's got 9 wins, and Crest only lost at Burns and at Shelby. Shelby only lost at Kings Mountain. Burns only lost at Shelby and against Kings Mountain and Gardner Webb. And then Kings Mountain, again, it's just turnovers. They lost at Crest, and then they lost that tough game at Hunter Huss. And so it's been a great year, and I really hope that the fans in Cleveland County will take a little bit of time before the playoffs start and think about how blessed we are to have 4 teams with 9 wins. And playoffs are different. They're a different animal, and you can go flying in the playoffs feeling really good about yourself, and boom, go home pretty quickly. But take at least. Yeah, take at least a day until those pairings come out, and then come out again, until they're finally right, and just kind of bask in the fact that when is the last time that Cleveland County had 4 teams that had 9 wins? There's always generally one team struggles, but we've got 4 teams that are playing really good ball.
Right.
Well, it's the old 24-hour rule. Just enjoy the win for 24 hours and then get back to work. If you lose, don't worry about it more than 24 hours and get back to work. And that's what we've got. All 4 teams got to get back to work now.
And it looks like Burns and Shelby will be in the same division, and Kings Mountain and Crest will be in the same division. You kind of hope that there might be a way that they could all get in different divisions and see just what they could do. But it is what it is.
Well, I don't think the High School Athletic Association would allow us to have 4 state championships in 1 year.
Well, like I say, five. It's hard to get 5 wins in a row, but all 4 of those teams have a chance, and I'm looking forward to next week. And as Brent and I said on our broadcast, we didn't know who'd we be playing, but we should be at home, and we'll have that game. So we really appreciate you guys, letting us broadcast those games. We really enjoy it.
Well, we appreciate the job that you and Jeff do, and I'm sure all the Golden Lion fans out there, on a chilly night, they like listening to you and Brent, rather than having to sit out in the cold.
This is true. All right, well, like I say, I just wanted to kind of sort of echo what Rob had said about we need to really take some time and just really appreciate the year that all our teams have had, and enjoy listening to you guys, and maybe next week I can give you another call.
All right.
Hey, thank you, Jeff, for all y'all do over there on the Shelby side. We really appreciate y'all, man. I enjoy listening to your games, catching all info and all the stats and everything, so we can have something to talk about when we come out here. So we appreciate that, and y'all do an awesome job over there.
And Jeff can celebrate twice tonight. His Golden Lions conference champions, and his alma mater, his conference champions tonight too.
That's
Jeff.
right, Chris. Chris, class of 81.
There you go.
And
we throw Tom
just a few years
Cinefani in
ago.
there too.
That's right, Cinefani. He's not as old as I am, but he's right there as well. So
he's a 91 guy. So I think y'all 10 years separate.
And Kings Mountain, Greg Lloyd over there. So
he's a 91 guy. No, 92.
Let's just have a Charger party, and we'll even throw in Northwest Cabarrus, Joel.
All right, guys. Well, you take care, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, man.
Am I talking? There I go. How about that? Is that better? Now we got to talk about our top 10 conference champions and more. South Fork, too. Jeff was alluding to it. Cleveland County this year undefeated at home.
Mm-hmm.
The whole county. That's across the board. Looking at the losses on that, you guys keep in mind, I included Huss in this just to give an idea. Crest lost. Let's start with Huss. They're out of it. They lost 2 games this year, one by 35 to Vance, and they lost by 7 to Crest. Burns this year lost by 28 and 13. That's 41 points. Huss has lost by 42. Shelby's only lost 1 game, but again, they've only played 10 games. So has Huss. They've lost by 25 points to Kings Mountain. Crest has lost to Burns and Shelby by 21 and 30. And then Kings Mountain, Joel, you guys have only lost by 6 points. And y'all are going to have the worst seed out of all of those.
Hey, Will.
Y'all are 2 field goals away from being undefeated.
It sounds to me like he's making a case for Huss being the number 1 team.
No, I was making the case Kings Mountain probably should be.
Yeah. On the field, yeah, they're probably the best team. They just didn't score as many points.
They got a turnover problem right now and a little leaky on the defensive side.
But our young guy,
y'all gonna score 30 on about everybody.
What's going on with Mac? I didn't see him.
I don't know.
I'll get more info from you. How about
that's the coach's choice. I'm just hoping the young man hang on to the ball because he's been phoned by every week.
Terry, conference champions across the board. 3-way tie in the Southern Piedmont 1A, but they don't. I guess in the way the brackets are going to go, Thomas Jefferson's going to go low 1A, so they'll get that high 1 seed, and then Bessemer beat Mountain Island Charter. So I guess they'll get the higher seed in that, Terry, even though we got a 3-way tie, right, for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, they said if they all win in the same bracket, that Mountain Island would be first, Thomas Jefferson second, Bessemer City third.
But they're not.
If Mountain Island and Bessemer City go 1 AA,
which they should,
then Bessemer City's going to get that top seed on kind of head-to-head.
Mountain Island's in the middle of the pack in the 1 AA. Bessemer City has the 4th highest, the most students in the 1A class, so they're the high no matter what. Thomas Jefferson.
They're about to be back in 2A.
Well, the thing is, there's only 2 teams that got more of in 2A. So they may just stick those two teams they have more A back below them because Bessemer still has. Put it this way, they only have two more. There's only two schools that have more students than in 2A, but there's 4 teams in front of them in the 1A that have more students than in 2. So they're like they're like 4th or 5th place to move up in that spot. Granville Central right now in the 1A has 780 students. They are on the brink of being a big 2A school. I mean, they would be right now. They got the same number of students as Lincoln does, 67 in 2A, and the cutoff line is at 58. So Granville Central sitting there playing in the 1A, and they're almost a big 2A school. So there's some crossovers here and there that are very close. We've got the lines here. Champions across the board: High Brighton, Northwest Foothills 2A, North Lincoln Knights in the South Fork 2A, Shelby Golden Lions Southwest 2A champions. Bessemer City, Mountain Island, and Thomas Jefferson all win a piece of the 1A, depending on who you ask. They'll all tell you they're the champions somehow. Crest wins the Big South 3A, and Watauga wins the Northwest 3A, 4A, guys. The Watauga. Yep, I've been on that field before during Rise and Boom for a couple of things here and there. Let's see. Last thing, top 18. You ready for this, guys? Fuzzy math time. Let's make everybody mad before we go to bed.
Heck yeah.
Let's make everybody mad before we go to bed.
Leave me and Dennis some time.
I'll give you some time to complain.
If NASA used this math, we wouldn't have been to the moon.
Now this math is better than Max Preps. We haven't been back to
it ain't hard to do that.
Hey Dennis, I'll give you some quick moon facts real quick. I hope Tom's listening. We haven't been back to the moon, since we went 40 years ago. They lost. The NASA scientist spokesperson said they lost all the technology to go back, and they've lost all their stats and their mathematics and everything. Lost everything that they went. They have no proof. NASA actually has no proof that they went to the moon. Admitted by NASA. And we hadn't been back in 40 years. I don't know if we went, Will.
They need to go back and look at that movie where them black ladies
I'm just stating facts.
and figured it out.
I'll get Terry over here rubbing his eyes real quick. All right, number 18.
So you're saying Russia beat us?
All right, guys, the power poll. The way it works, you get points for 1 point for a 1A victory, 2 for a 2A victory, 3 for a 3A, 4 for a 4A victory. Now here's where the Crest Chargers are going to struggle.
Yeah.
Because you lose points based on the same formula. If you lose to a 4A, you get 0 points. If you lose to a 3A, you lose 1. If you lose to a 2A, Dennis, how many you lose? 2. If you lose to a 3A, 1 point.
And if you win the conference championship, you don't get nothing.
I mean, if y'all were in the South Fork 2A, you'd be in 3rd place. I mean, the Southwest 2A. No. And you still don't know if y'all to beat Chase, so it could be easy there right now.
Wait,
Terry.
Wait. If we
grab this man for me.
If we was in the South 2A, we'd have never played them games till later on, so we would still be undefeended champions.
Oh, we woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I'm just saying.
Listen, nobody's stopping y'all from volunteering to come on down to the Southwest. Y'all can come in 3rd.
You want us to play down?
I'm sure they won't mind. Sure, Burns and them won't mind. Let's see. Top 20. This is what I got.
Burns like playing us where we playing them at.
Stuart Kramer at number 20, negative 5 points. Ashbrook at number 19 of negative 3. Then we get in the positive section. Let's be positive, Terry. Tied with 1 point apiece. RS Central, Bandy's, and Bessemer City. Bessemer wins the tiebreaker. They are in the 16 spot. Bandy's in the 17, and RS Central in the 18 spot. How about number 15, guys?
Are you talking about this bug here?
No, 15.
That's that bug. Yeah.
Number 15 in front of them, the Red Raiders.
Oh.
5 and 6 on the season.
That's
Some
not
people
very
are talking.
South Point.
Some people are talking. They're on the bubble for playoffs, Terry.
Bubble? Can you say bubble?
Could be.
They're 4th in their conference.
Yeah.
RS.
They would be the 3rd 2A.
Hey, the only bubble for them may be in their bathtub.
Because Chase would be going down.
Chase would be going down.
So they would
Chase
be a 3rd.
Is technically the
right.
2 small A, the 2
1 seed.
Yeah. Number 1 seed.
And y'all think my math's fuzzy. The 3rd place team in the small 2A and the 1A and the 3A of North Carolina.
Meanwhile, back in
the only thing that's plus for them is 3 and 3 in the conference.
Yeah.
So South Point, somebody's gonna be hosting South Point. Maybe. How about the Mountain Island Charter Raptors at number 14? They are pretty much most teams stayed in the same spot this week. Mountain Island at 14, Newton Conover at 13 with 8 power points. They're tied with Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson gets the tiebreaker. The Newton Conover Red Devils did win tonight. They're 7-4 on the season, taking a lot of losses. Number 11 with 9 points in the power poll is the West Lincoln Rebels. They're 8-3 on the season. Is the Rebels. Forest U. West Lincoln is one of those teams tomorrow that'll be more looking at the brackets than anybody because they don't know if they're up, down, or where they're going to be.
Did you skip the Griffons?
Did I?
Yeah.
The Griffons are 12th at 10-1. No, I said they won the tiebreaker a minute ago. I didn't really talk too much about them. They did win the tiebreaker with Newton Conover there at 12th. Number 10, Forest View Jaguars, 6-5 on the season. Number 9, somebody won a lot of money this year betting on the Chase Trojans. 9-2 on the season, 11 power points, folks. They beat South Point. Like I said, they're the number 3 team in that conference. Congratulations to them on a wonderful season. Maybe one of the best ever, shit right there.
Yeah, it's one of the best. I mean, they call themselves the farm. Shannon says.
Number 8, Maiden Blue Devils with 12 power points, 8-3. Number 7 and 13 power points is the East Lincoln Mustangs at 8-3. And the top 6 are still the same top 6 teams. 4 Cleveland County teams, North Lincoln and Huss. Here's the order, folks. Burns at 6, 17 power points, 9-2 on the season. They lost, like I said, at 5 combined this year. Burns, 41 points. North Lincoln is number 5, 10-1. They actually technically have the best record in our area, along with Thomas Jefferson at 10-1. They have 18 power points. So watch out for the Knights, according to Will Boykins. The only loss is to a 3A team, the Parkwood Rebels. Number 4, the Shelby Golden Lions, 20 power points, 9-1 on the season.
Send those cards and letters to Kevin Hastings at KTC Broadcast.
If Shelby could have got a 2A opponent this year and beat them, they would be in the number.
Nobody will play them.
They would be in the number 3 spot actually instead of 4. But instead they're in the number 4. Number 3, the Crest Chargers. Oh, see why I did this at the end of the show? Because we got to leave here in a second. 22 power.
Cut us off, Will.
22 power points.
Please,
got
sir.
2 more.
When you say that name, please, sir.
Say what?
Say the Big South 3A champion.
Let me put it this way: if
Chris
Cleveland
Jordan.
County played pool play, you guys would not make it to the championship game.
It don't.
Right, Terry?
Listen,
If we're playing pool play,
we don't
play pool.
We're talking about conference
like I
championships
said,
here.
y'all were
That's a trophy in the
We're
case
talking
up
about
front.
No, wait a minute. I'm looking at the
Conference
Southwest
championship.
standings, and it says y'all are in
Stop it.
3rd.
If frogs had wings, they
Stop
wouldn't
it.
bump their
I'm
tail
looking at
whenever
the
they flew.
Southwest 2A standings. Listen, I was told by a Burns fan that they beat Crest and Crest beat this other team, so that means Burns is better than Husk, Crest, and all the rest of them.
Yeah, we can play
They
that
struggled
game, too.
early like you
Well,
guys did,
well,
right?
Obviously, we know that ain't.
Let's do
We
this.
obviously we know that
They
ain't true
struggled early.
because they played Kings Mountain.
Number
Burns played
early.
Kings
They struggled
Mountain.
early.
The number 3 team will beat the 1 and 2 team, and yet they're 3.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
22 points for Crest, 9-2 overall. Kings Mountain, 23 points, and Huss actually tied for the number 1 spot. Huss wins the tiebreaker over the head-to-head matchup with 23 power points. The problem with Crest, Dennis, is that your losses come into effect. You got some good wins. You're right. You do got some good wins. But of the top 6 teams, only 2 of them have lost to a 2A school.
This sound like the
One of
same,
them Shelby, Terry.
This sound like the same map that puts Clemson at the undefeated.
All right, Terry.
They undefeated national champions are ranked
Terry.
5th.
Of the top, Terry,
5th out of the top.
But
the
they
top
play
6
NC
teams,
State
Terry.
tomorrow, and Terry's got a word to say about that.
Of the top 6 teams, Terry, which one of those teams lost to 2A schools?
Out of the top 6.
Of the top 6, the only school in there that has lost to 2A schools.
But
Not
who
3A
were-
schools.
Who were those
2A
2A
schools.
teams?
So y'all have worse losses than everyone else. Huss lost to Vance and the number 3 team.
Are all 2A schools
Kings Mountain
equal?
lost to the 1 team and the 3 team. Shelby lost. Who beat Shelby? Kings Mountain, the number 2 team. North Lincoln lost to a Parkwood team, which is not ranked, and Burns lost to all those the other teams that are in front of them. So Crest lost to 2 teams behind them. They're the only the team in the top 6 that lost to teams behind them. Everyone else lost to teams in front of them. Three different ways to look at it, Dennis, and two of them I'm right.
And Appalachian is going to beat South Carolina tomorrow. You dang right. Woo! How about them Mountaineers?
That might happen.
All right, folks. Terry, you guys give the scores. It's time to go. Thank you, Joel. Sorry about that. Say good night, Joel, too, real quick. You want to give the score? I know you don't want to give the Mountaineers score.
What?
It ain't nothing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so it was the New Conover Red Devils over the North Lincoln Mustangs, 42-21. Crest over the Kings Mountain, 40-34. It was, I know that score is high.
North Gaston and Burns.
North Gaston, Burns over North Gaston, 63-0. The basketball score tonight, East Rutherford over East Gaston, 76-27. Bessemer City over Cherryville. Bessemer City took the belt home, 40-14. Shelby over South Point, 49-21. Orange Central falls to Chase, 42-21. Macon over Lincoln, 49-16. Forest View over Stuart Craven, 41-21. West Lincoln over Lake Norman Charter, 56-12. Ashbrook falls to Hunter Huss, 19-0. North Lincoln over Bandy's, 50-13. Fred T. Ford falls to West Iredale, 29-14. Drone over East Burke, 38-7. High Brighton over Patton, 52-0. Mountain Out Charter over Highland Tech, 60-0. Bunker Hill over West Caldwell, 34-13. Thomas Jefferson over Union Academy, 56-0. Hickory over St. Stephen's, 37-34. Freedom over McDowell, 50-24. Alexander Central over South Caldwell, 41-12. And Mountain Heritage over Polk County, 28-21.
All right, Will, that's the rundown of all the scores. Terry?
Big game
NC
this week.
State and Clemson tomorrow. Talk to me, buddy.
We don't have a chance. I'll just put it like that.